Welcome to your best year online retreat by Coaching Minds. We have a wonderful starting session today with three wonderful leaders that are successful in their own unique way. But before I introduce our wonderful speakers, I just want to let you know and make a point that this is not limited. Our online retreat is not limited. So whether you're tuned in today, whether you're watching this on the replay, whether you find us in June or August, what we're delivering over these 6 sessions is great for at any point that you want to reset, refocus, and look at where you want to take your year. It doesn't have to happen in January. January is just a good time to deliver this because it's when we were all thinking about our goals and resolutions. So on that note, we have three wonderful business leaders from around the world. We've got Patricia Zegers in the Netherlands, from the Netherlands, based in Barcelona. Apologies, Patricia. We've got Donna Burfield from the UK, and we've got Adele Jacobs in South Africa. So I'm going to hand it over to you guys just to give a little bit of an introduction. Adele, I'm going to start with you first. Just a little bit about yourself before we get into a discussion about setting the intentions for success this year.
As Paul already said, I'm based in South Africa, and I just want to welcome everyone. A little bit about myself is I like to live life abundantly, and having that perspective of what abundance is to being content and aligned with yourself, not really looking at money-wise and things like that, but just being abundant within yourself.
Excellent. Thank you, Adele. I really, really appreciate that. I love that idea of abundance with ourselves for the definition of success. Patricia, I'm going to go to you next. Would you like to give a little bit about Patricia, please?
Yeah, sure. As you said, I'm from the Netherlands, but I've been in Spain almost 20 years. I'll be completing the 20 years this year. So that's another milestone for me there. For me, I have grown up abroad. I am very interested in cultures. What drives people? How do we get to, who we are, and how do we develop ourselves further? So in my work, I mainly work with people who are already very capable and who are very driven, but who are also looking for creating that sustainable base that helps them in their growth, both personally and professionally. And yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Oh, excellent. Thank you for sharing that, Patricia. And welcome to our online retreat today. We're really excited to get into a discussion. Donna, last but not least, would you like to share a little bit about yourself for the benefit of our audience?
Hi, everyone, and welcome. I'm an accredited coach, and before that I was a Montessori teacher and then a secondary learning support teacher. I've travelled the world quite extensively, and what I love is the fact that we all want the same things. We all want love, we all want peace, we all want respect and acceptance, and so that is a big drive in starting coaching and bringing people together and just celebrating who you are. So now I focus on more of the 50-year-old plus because I am in the 50s. Before it was children and parents, so different ends of the spectrum, but it's just about bringing community and yourself out there and celebrating you, who you are, and not what people expect you to be.
Thank you so much, Donna. And I love that, what you shared there about how we all want the same things in terms of love and to feel valued. Because that's ultimately how we define, I think, from our values, our version or idea of what success is. Now, if you are tuned in, let us know if you're ready to make 2026 your best year. Please say hi. Please welcome these wonderful coaches and leaders, Adele, Patricia, and Donna. I can see we've got Cindy tuned in. She's tuned in here. Cindy saying, good morning. Good morning, Cindy at the Cayman Islands. Thank you for being here with us. So we've got, so as Donna mentioned, success has kind of this idea that we all want to be loved, want to be valued, but generally with success, we all have a different version of how we define success. So Adele, my first question, I'm going to go over to you if that's okay. So you mentioned when you were talking about abundance within yourself. At what point, if ever, in your life has your definition of success changed, and what forced that change?
For me, the definition changes at times. As I grow, as I change, I've had a lot of successes in my life that I thought was success, but it wasn't actually. And that came from the viewpoints of educators, the viewpoints of my parents, the viewpoints of people that I've seen on their successes. And only once I went within myself and I've asked myself the question, what does success mean to you? Is when the shift happens, where I realized what I'm building on and what I want to achieve in life gives me my success. I'm not living up to other people's expectations and what I want from it. And it's not necessarily, as I mentioned earlier, it's not necessarily money wise, business wise. I did a lot of sports in my earlier life. For me, I took that as success, but it's not. Success is how I feel within myself. And again, what Donna mentioned earlier, that love. What are you giving out? And what are you living up to? That for me is success, having it all, receiving it all, and giving it out.
Beautifully put, Adele. I really, really appreciate that. And if anybody is tuned in, I would love to know your stories, your thoughts. When has success changed in your life? How do you define success? Some of us are chasing money. Some of us are chasing love, as Adele mentioned as well, and different versions of it. So please let us know where success has changed in your life. And Patricia, I think this leads me nicely onto a question for yourself, if that's okay. When we talk about how success changes, how do we recognize when success is becoming unsustainable and maybe might need to have that change?
Yeah, I think you can look at both personal success or professional success or whatever type of success that you're after. When it looks good on the outside, but it doesn't feel quite right on the inside, I think that is when it starts to become unsustainable. Of course, as you know, I focus a lot on businesses and small businesses, usually founder-led or small teams. And so in there, what you can often see is that it becomes more difficult to step away. Taking some time off starts to feel risky because you're not there. Decisions start stacking up. Things always need to root through you. And what I see there is that instead of your business or your professional life being supported by a system, you are carrying everything yourself. And I would say that we could also make this into your personal life, right? If you're full of activities, you're out there, you have friends, you're always the one that makes everybody laugh, but on the inside you might be suffering. So it is you carrying everything instead of having a system around you, a scaffolding that supports you also in your life. And I think that is where we can say that success really becomes unsustainable, whether personal or professional.
Yeah, no, I can really resonate with that, Patricia. It's almost like at times we're wearing a bit of a mask and we're not feeling that alignment with the connection that we have with other people and that what we're carrying ourselves. So thank you for sharing, Patricia. I really, really love that. Really wonderful stuff. And Donna, I'm going to come and bring this over to you because at times, we've talked about how success can change. Patricia's mentioned when we might recognize when success might become a little bit unsustainable and we might need to change that definition of success. But is there been any time that success has given you something you didn't expect? And what did you take away? What did it take away from you, success?
Yeah, good question. I get the success I found was through my family, their support. When we're on the same page, it ended up being a group success. And I really, really appreciated that, because being a single mother, when I wanted to start my coaching business, I knew that there was going to be elements of adapting for all of us, because I was working full time and studying and stuff. So having that conversation with the people closest to me, so they were along the journey with me. So that was fantastic. What success took away from me was, I suppose in some respects, trust. Because then you have people who want to jump on the bandwagon, aren't always ethical, and then it puts you into a situation of where you have to stand up for yourself and say, look, you know, this isn't aligning with my values. And I think that's a big thing that it always comes back to. And I think that's something that you learn with age. And I think, again, how we are taught about success is completely different. You know, success has always ended up being materialistic, or about how you look, stuff like that. And it's only once you mature and you are more aligned with yourself and who you are, that you turn around and say, no, that's not my success. So it takes a huge weight off you, but it also can alienate you from other people.
Yeah, no, and I hear a lot of the word on that note of alienation there. We hear a lot of people say, you know, success comes with a sacrifice as well. And sometimes if we're, like you mentioned, Donna, you know, at a young age, we've been educated in certain ways to believe the value of success, whether we're chasing money, fame, status, whatever it is. And as we grow, but that does also come with a sacrifice, because I truly believe that once we're saying yes to something, we're saying no to something else. And if that no is something that is really valuable to us in our core values, then we're missing out on a lot, and we can alienate ourselves from people, Donna. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you, Patricia and Adele. I'm going to go back to the comments because we've got some wonderful people tuned in. We've got Helen tuned in. Helen, good to see you here. Thank you for being here. We've got Jane tuned in saying happy Saturday, and we've got Ed tuned in. So we've got Ed, Cindy, and Jane later on today as well. So sorry, Jane and Ed today and Cindy tomorrow. So welcome, coaches. It's wonderful to see you all here. And Cindy's also saying success is internally determined. Do we agree with that, everybody? Yeah. Anything you'd like to share, Cindy?
Yeah, I think it comes down to your values again, and how you define success.
And if I can add to what Donna is saying there, is what is meaningful to you. Look at your intentions. Does it mean anything to you? Is it meaningful? And that is, again, links onto what Cindy is saying, it's internal.
Yeah, I would like to point out maybe the difficulty of that, because of course we as we grow, we think we feel that it's internal, but there's a lot of pressure on the from outside about what success looks like, right? Donna already mentioned something about the materialistic, or how we need to look. So if it takes a lot of work on yourself, and a lot of soul searching to find out what is the success that I want to adhere to, and also to feel so grounded in yourself that you dare to step into the world with that definition of success, counter to what the rest of the world maybe defines as successful.
May I just add, Paul, if that's okay? We tend to look at success to do with our work, our businesses, that financial side. But, you know, if there's somebody who's in a bad relationship and they leave that relationship, if there's someone who's got health issues, you know, if there's someone who has mental health issues, success is greater for them than about necessarily just going out to work and getting a pay rise. So I think we forget to celebrate the ordinary, which tend to be the extraordinary, which tend to be.
Wonderful, Donna, and I think that nicely leads me on to the next question for Adele, because a lot of us can attach also our success to our productivity. You know, we value ourselves by our productivity and what we do. And as you mentioned, if somebody is struggling with their mental health, success is going to look very different from them on a day-to-day basis. So the question that I have for you, Adele, is, you know, how do we know that we're successful on a day when nothing productive is really happening? What have you experienced in your life?
For me, is where is your focus? Are you focusing only on that I'm not productive, nothing's happening? And if I want to take the analogy to nature, if you take trees, if you take flowers, it has a season. It goes in the different seasons. It blooms. It bears fruit at certain times of the year. The other times is
We're losing you, Adele, I think. Is it just my end?
No,
rest.
No, you've come in a little bit.
I'm not saying you rest for long.
bless.
No, we've lost you, Adele. Patricia, Donna, just to pick up there, we got little bits of words from Adele. I don't think she's hearing us neither.
She's still going.
Yeah.
Love
We have to love technology.
We have to, yeah. And the persistence of Adele to
take the
not
time
let
to
it
reflect on that day. That you need to
not let the words she wants to make this point
happen.
Excellent. Okay, so I couldn't pick up a lot there, Adele. It's coming through word by word. So I'm just going to open this up to Patricia and Donna. You know, how have you felt success in your days when nothing productive has actually happened? And there's a few good comments in the comments box I'm going to bring in as well. I just want to open it up to Patricia and Donna in your experience.
Okay, I think my computer's frozen.
Oh.
Patricia, would you like to go first?
Go ahead, Donna.
I think that's a mindset thing, because what you see is productive. What is productive? Again, you could be bedridden or you could be ill and you've managed to have a shower that day. Now, to somebody else, that's not productive. That's something that everybody does in the morning. So, you know, I think you've got to stop taking away implementing other people's version of success. If you've made one, like that 1%, you've done something. It's been productive, even if it's a mindset thing. You've spoken badly about yourself. Oh, I feel so stupid. You know, why can't I do this? And what's wrong with me? And you've changed your mindset to, you know what? I can do this. I am going to accomplish one thing today, and it might be the most, you know, insignificant thing to somebody else.
No, I love that, Donna. I really do. And is there anything you'd like to add, Patricia, to your experience?
Yeah, well, I don't. That says it all, right? I mean, once you create it based on what you think is important, then you know that also determines your productivity and what you take off or what you don't take off. And again, you know, I think the most difficult thing that as we are talking about this, is the fact that other people have so much power over what is success, what is productivity, and it's difficult to stand up and say, yeah, but you know what, I'm going to do it a different way.
Yeah, And it goes back to what Donna mentioned, what yourself mentioned, Patricia, a couple of comments there as well, is it needs to come from within. But there's too much noise out there telling us what we should be doing, what we should be achieving. And I think one of the biggest misconceptions when it comes to success, and I don't know if you both would agree, but it's one of my personal beliefs, is we're so much, we have this perspective that success leads to happiness. When actually, if you flip it the other way around, and I know there's a lot of motivational speakers that say this, and it's in a lot of books, but happiness is what leads to success. So how do we look? For me, how do I look? If it's not a productive day, how do I just look for those moments of joy within that day that's going to give me those good feelings and those good emotions that success would give me?
Yeah, and also failure is a part of success, and I don't like that word failure, but failure leads to resilience, which leads to success.
Yeah,
so
it does indeed. Yeah, we need to learn to fail. We definitely do. Okay, and there's a couple of good comments coming in as well. So Cindy's saying sometimes success is just getting out of bed. So Donahue says sometimes it's just taking a shower. So just little things like this on a day-to-day basis. Vijay is saying success is when I'm okay with what I'm working on and achieving, but it doesn't meet expectations or standard of success for others, and learning to be okay with it.
Wonderful.
Really beautifully put by Vijay. Yeah. So lots of stuff well said, Donna. Adele made a nature reference that we missed, so hopefully some of that got through. So loving the nature reference. Sabina's saying, as long as your soul is urging to try something every single day, that's already is your success. That's beautifully put as well now. Yeah. So lots of stuff coming through. Wonderful. Barbara Woods is saying, in terms of those seemingly non-productive days, focus on the seeds you planted and anticipate some germination when you least expect it. Again, beautifully put, Barbara. Thank you. And Jane is also saying, looking at success in all areas of our lives, not just financial gain. Thank you for that, Jane. And I think was it Donna or Patricia? I think what we mentioned that earlier on, not to just look in one area. It might be Adele actually, that shared that. So no, wonderfully put, Jane. Thank you for sharing that. And keep putting your comments in. If there's anything you've experienced in terms of a change within your success, your definition of success, how you come through and recognize when success has become sustainable, it needs that change. And please do put that in the comments box. And Donna, just on that, I think it leads me nicely to another question for you, if you don't mind. And that is there a level of success that actually makes growth harder? So we've talked about different levels of success, but is there a level that actually makes growth harder?
Yeah, I think for some people, you can then get into your own head and become quite egotistical, and you forget to acknowledge those that have helped you up that ladder to success. I've seen it quite often, and I find it sad. Is always be humble. When you're successful, not one person is successful. There's a team of people that have helped you to get there. And it says a lot when you acknowledge them. If you don't acknowledge them, you can end up losing those closest to you who have put in the hours, who have been there for your manic, sleepless nights. And, you know, they're not just there to look up to you and rejoice any accolades or what have you. So never forget that this is a team sport.
And I think you make a very important point there, Donna. There's a collective, there's a team behind your success. However we define that, there's always someone, or generally someone there. And there are people that struggle and might feel isolated in that space where it becomes a little bit difficult for them to acknowledge what's around them. But generally, no matter how we define success, there is people behind that vision of success. It doesn't just rest with us. But then equally, we also need to understand that the individuals that are part of your success may have a different version of success, and what you're seeing as being successful and what you're rewarding them for, they might not actually be. So it gets into a deep conversation around communication, understanding your team, the people that you're working with, their vision of success, and upholding that as well. But I think, Donna, you make a very important point. It's a team spirit. We need to acknowledge that, because I can imagine that makes growth harder to that next level. Because if you lose those that have supported you to get to one point, and they decide to go off on the way, it's going to be difficult for you to grow from there.
May I just add to that, Paul? It's not necessarily people that you work with. It could be that person on the way to the tube station that you grab a coffee, who's always cheerful, who's always, how you doing? And I saw this and I thought of you. They're part of that success as well. So, you know, we tend to look at those that are on a certain level, but it's anybody. It could be that bus driver. It could be, yeah. So open your mind and look at who are those that are the silent cheerleaders.
Yeah, and it's often said that your biggest supporters are strangers. I don't know how much we believe that, but it is often said that our biggest supporters are strangers. So that moves me on to another question for yourself, Patricia, if that's okay. So slightly different direction here. But what does success require us to protect, no matter how ambitious we are? So we've talked about those different levels. Sometimes it's just getting out of bed. But a lot of people are ambitious. They want to make 2026 huge. They want to achieve a lot this year. What do they need to protect when they're chasing and pursuing this?
Clarity. You must be clear about your values. You must have clarity about your priorities, and you must have clarity around your boundaries. If you are trying to make this your most successful year yet, and the pressure starts hitting, the clarity dilutes. It's easy. You start, you know, as I talked about before, the decisions start to pile up. The pressure is on. There's more things to do. There's more opportunities. Usually, when you're building this, lots of opportunities start to come your way. Oh, this person wants to do something with you, and that person is looking to collaborate. Where are your priorities? What are your values? And how do you make sure that every decision that you take are aligned with those? And talk about that clarity. That clarity also, if you do have a team, your team needs to have that level of clarity. Why are we doing the things we do? How do we do the things we do? And therefore, what do we not do? What do we leave behind? What do we put on a parking list, if you like, because we're not doing it now. We may do it later. And so for me, clarity is something that loses strength when the pressure is on. And so if you are building an organization or a business, or you're becoming your own professional and self-employed, making sure that clarity keeps you grounded, even if the pressure is on, so that you don't fly off the handle in all directions and you end up just fighting fires instead of actually going towards where you're looking to go. So that would be, clarity is my big thing to protect.
No, wonderful. I love that, Patricia. And clarity is so important. If anyone's like me, I'm like an excitable puppy with projects and collaborations. I'm a big yes to this, yes to that. So that's one thing. I work like brother as well. I love to get involved in things. I love new ideas. I love projects there. So yeah, definitely. And I have learned over the years as well. I'm sure many people have tuned in have learned over the years that you can say yes to things that later down the line aren't aligned with your true core and values. I love that you shared that, Patricia, because we're going to go deep into a value session, understanding our core values with Ed later today after we've gone through mindset with Jane. So it's going to be good. The question that I do have for the audience off the back of what I've just asked Patricia there is, in your goals, your vision, what you want to achieve this year in 2026, what do you need to protect with your ambitions? And what do you need to gain clarity on and prioritize, as Patricia has mentioned? So just a reflective question for you to think as we talk about success and we start to look at defining success for 2026. I'm going to come back to the comments. There's got a lot of comments coming through. So some people are already sharing what they're going to be protecting. So Cindy is saying she's going to protect her peace, which is brilliant, or advising us to protect our peace. I think that's really important. Sabine is saying, if you are clear about your values and what you are doing, excellent. Coming back off the back of what you were sharing there, Patricia. If Patricia, Donna, if there's anything you want to come back to the audience, please do just jump in. I just like to invite them and bring them as part of the session today. And then protect your energy, emotional, mental, and physical.
Can I just add, I think when you're looking forward for 2026 or whenever in your life, if you are only focusing on your business, it's the detriment to everything else. So have a clear vision of, it could be your mental well-being. I need to sit in silence and reflect a lot more, or I need to read, or I need to do what have you. It could be your personal life, family life. I want to spend more time with the children. I want to communicate better with my partner. Or I want to, go for walks, stop the electronics. I want us as a family to do more bonding that way. So look at your life and compartmentalize those sections and think just one thing: better communication, show more affection, go for a family outing, or go to the cinema by myself once a month. And you can look at the finances. Okay, I'm going to stop buying coffee and only do it twice a week instead of 5 times a week. All those things are those little steps to success that has a ripple effect and a knock-on effect across the board.
Yeah, can I add something to that, Paul? The reflection of the wheel of life is something that always really interests me. If you do that on a regular basis, you do make sure that you have a holistic view of what you're doing with your life, and you're not just moving into only one direction. And I think that is very, very important. One thing for people to remember when they are building their businesses and they're going into this wild ambition, that we don't get to do anything if we're not healthy, or if our relations are not healthy, etc. So it is very important to have that holistic view of our life, and to make sure that it's more or less in balance everywhere.
I love that. Streams of Life is a good, Wheel of Life is a great model to use. Don't know what you're saying there about small steps as well. It's really wonderful to get that holistic view of our life, see where we need to start so we don't overwhelm ourselves too much. And for the coaches that are tuned in, we've got a lot of coaches here that are going to be working with clients at the start of this year, throughout the year, to set goals, to look at goals. So what it's also understanding what we want as individuals, how we work as individuals, how our clients work as individuals. So if some of us like to start off small, but for example, myself, I like to start off big. I like to see that big picture, and I like to work my way back. If I start small, it doesn't get me motivated, doesn't get me moving. So we're all very different in that nature. And as coaches, we need to spot that with our clients to see what works for them. So whilst you might start with the stream of life, the first go-to for me is right future pacing for 2026. I want to see what my life is going to look like at the end of 2026, and I want to work back from it. So there's lots of different tools that we can use, and it really shows the variations of success and how we define success. But love what you shared there both. I think the Wheel of Life is a great tool, breaking up small steps. That consistency as well, Donna, is really important. And it kind of leads me to my next question for yourself, Donna, if that's okay, because whilst if we don't have that clarity that Patricia mentioned, and we're off chasing this project, off chasing that project, there's certain metrics where we measure our success on that journey. And is there any metrics that you have in terms of measuring your success that you distrust, or you would caution for individuals to steer away from?
Well, I think the main one that comes to mind, and will for others, is social media. So many people base their value and worth on how many likes, followers, and so forth, and forget about content. And if you are a coach, or doesn't matter what your line of business is, if you're not promoting that with integrity and honesty, but you're only doing that because you're going to get more likes, or you can buy more followers, or what have you, I think that is one way of doing it. And also along the way, you'll get people that will people pleasers, or who wants to come along for the ride and tell you what they want to hear, not what you need to hear. So you need to have, that community around you for honest feedback, or feed forward, and to say, don't just say, yes, that was great. Because a lot of, yeah, that was great, that was fine. And then you walk away and you think, well, actually, the sound was bad, the lighting wasn't great, and some of the questions were, so be honest with people and ask permission. I love your energy. Do I have permission there was a few things that I observed. But people seem to forget that all they want to hear is the compliments to build up their own ego. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Patricia's smiling.
Yeah, I'm thinking, our life with social media. I don't know. You love and hate it. I think that's complicated. Relationship with social media, I would say complicated.
Love, hate.
Yeah, complicated.
It is indeed. But I think when it comes to using social media, especially for the coaches that are tuned in as well, and you make a really valid point, Donna. So many people attach their value and their success to how many likes they get on their posts. They've got to make decisions whether to hide likes, to buy followers, all that sort of stuff. And it just becomes, what we've got to realize is social media is realistically fake. A lot of the stuff, 90% of what you see on there is fake. People just want to put their best versions of themselves out there. You're not seeing their struggles, their fears, their anxieties. They're portraying an image of themselves of how they want themselves to look 90% of the time. There's a lot of good stuff on there. There's a lot of good ways, which you mentioned. There's that love-hate relationship. Relationships complicated because there's a lot of good stuff out there, but it becomes then difficult for people to say, right, well, what's actually real and what is fake? And as coaches, we really need to think about, because social media is a tool. It's a really great tool that we can use. And like any tool, we can use it to our benefit. And if we are getting lost and tied to likes and comments and followers, that's the wrong way to look at it. But we can actually use it as a place to get our content out there, to deliver our message, to find our target audience, to build our communities. It works as a really useful tool. So as a coach, we need to steer away from the likes and the followers to, what is this doing for my business? How is this building credibility for me, whether I'm a personal brand or a brand or a business? How am I using social media to build my business? We don't have to go on and do dances on TikTok just to build a following. It's everyone laughing there, but we don't. But people believe and they feel that there's a need that they have to go and dance on TikTok just to start to grow their business. And it doesn't necessarily work like that.
Can I also just add a point to this? I mean, I found it funny, especially I was so active on social media a couple of years ago when I started my business. And I had a few content media coaches say to me, well, you don't have many likes and, as a negative. And I always thought, hold on a second. Say I had 10 likes for a post. If that resonated and supported just one person, then it was worth it. I don't need 300 likes where it may not make an impact on anyone. So it's the quality of the one that's connecting with you or connecting with the post. And how many times have we read something on social media and we haven't liked or we haven't shared, but then later on it's gone, oh yeah, that made sense. And that person hasn't seen that comment had actually had an impact on us. So I think you've got to keep things into perspective here.
Yeah, and Cindy's resonating with you. Cindy's just put on here quality versus quantity. Love that, Donna. So yeah, no, I think you make a really, really valid point there, Donna. And I think what I want to use is Coaching Minds. I don't know if you've got any personal examples as well, but Coaching Minds is an example. So we're quite successful in terms of how many members we've got in our platform and our hub and the number of coaches that we have. But the way we work, they don't come through social media. Generally, we are following our coaches on social media afterwards, connecting with them on LinkedIn afterwards, follow them on Instagram afterwards. So successful businesses don't have to have a huge social media form. There's other ways as coaches where we can get clients. And I think sometimes we have those blinkers and those blinders on that everything has to come from Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, social media. Yes, a majority of traffic, a majority of eyes, because everybody's got their heads in their phones these days rather than being out and about connecting with people. You're going to get more traffic, but it doesn't necessarily have to define your success.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts? So there's some stuff coming in. I don't know, Patricia, if you have any thoughts on social media. I know you said it's a bit complicated in that area. Social media, grain of salt, whatever that expression is. It's 5:30 a.m. here. Thank you for being tuned.
Bless.
Yeah. We've got Eric tuned in who said structure in discipline, self-balance. Thank you for sharing that, Eric. Structure in discipline, self-balance is definitely something to protect this year. And we've got Claire saying, whether you decide to stop being amateur, I'll be back. Okay, Clarity Whistler. Let's just remove him. We've got a couple of idiots joining us today, so I'm just going to ban him and get rid of him. So, we haven't got time for that. So moving on. On that note, I've got another amateur question for everybody who's tuned in. Going over to yourself, if that's okay. If success had seasons, what season would you say you are in right now, and how should people adapt their expectations accordingly? Am I still here?
Yep.
Yes, you are.
Oh, you asking us? I
Oh,
thought you
sorry.
were asking the audience. Sorry. I would say I was in.
Question for the audience as well.
Yeah, sorry about that. I would say I was more in. I'm coming out of winter, coming into spring.
What does spring look like in terms of that success?
More connection, sharing, doing what I love, supporting others. I've missed that during my winter season due to health and so forth. I wasn't able to help others. I was too busy putting on the oxygen mask for myself. And so, yeah, supporting others, being others' cheerleaders, that's what really, really excites me. I love that. So, yeah, spring is coming.
Rebranding Game of Thrones there now.
Oh, okay. I've only seen a couple of
No longer
extracts.
winter is coming, it's spring is coming, yeah. Trish, what about yourself?
Yeah, I think maybe a little bit similar. I mean, this is for me a time for lots of reflections. I do feel a little bit in winter time, right? Especially with everything that has been going on in my life over the past couple of years. But I think that, it's about making very deliberate choices, creating again something. I pay attention to lots of foundations, and I feel a little bit that I mean, not that I'm done by any means, but I think I'm trying to pass on what I know and what I have now to next generation. So, I do support new startups, social startups. I'm trying to be the change I would like to see in the world. I try to share that knowledge and support others in then building that up again. So I do think that I'm a little bit also in the winter, and being also very selective in where my energy goes, who I spend my time with, what I do, what I don't do. And yeah, I think there is, if also for everybody listening, your life goes through stages, it flows up and down, etc. Sometimes you're in clear expansion, so go for it, go all out and do that expansion, do the learning. And sometimes it's time for consolidation and designing or redesigning things. And I feel a little bit that I'm in that phase now, maybe consolidating, looking at how can I carry this on to new generations, supporting younger people, spending a lot of time with young people, understanding them, but also supporting them and helping them. And yeah, so that's, I think, a little bit winter time with still some springs I would like to go through myself as well, of course.
I think sometimes as well, you don't have to look at seasons. Look at Scotland. I mean, they have the 4 seasons in one day or 3 hours. So to be fair, that's life. You look at your lifeline. I mean, it's up and down, and that's what's going to happen within one day. You can think it's a fantastic sunny day and everything's going well, then all of a sudden something, and it's not to be, despondent. It's about, if winter comes, spring comes, summer comes, autumn comes, they all come at some point. So don't focus that you're just going to stay in one season, because that's not realistic either. And it's not healthy.
No, it's not. And you're right, Donna. We don't know what's going to happen in a day, in a week, in a month. Our success can just flip on its side in the space of 24 hours. So it's important to be prepared, to be ready. And Patricia, I agree. I'm in that stage as well. I think winter moving through to spring. I see winter as being the planning season. So lots of planning over the past couple of months, and then to move into the spring. Not that I'm saying I'm adjusted with the calendar of the year, because we're moving into spring shortly here. So for those of you who are just tuning in, we're just talking about, in terms of our level of success right now, how do we look at this as a season? And I want to bring in a comment from Mario Christina, who's made a really good point. And he's saying he is, if it lets me show it, give me a second. So he's saying, I'm Mario, I'm a global assistant that's currently based in Canada. From the start of this session, I've been wondering if we could use another word instead of success. And I love that, because success is a word that's misleading. It puts pressure on people. And I'm opening it up to everybody that's tuned in. What word would you use instead of the word success? What word feels comfortable with you? You don't have to call it success, but we are here to help you make 2026 your best year. We're just talking about our success and different versions of what would make 2026 our best year. And Patricia, Donna, any word you would replace success with?
That is a good question. Possibility. No, success. Oh, yes, he's really got me thinking. Nice one. It's going to shut me up for a few minutes.
For me, I think it's much more around fulfillment. I also, success, big, maybe not because of the word, but because of what our society, says that word means, or how it is portrayed. Success means you're part of the 5 a.m. club. You're always active. Your body is fantastic. You make a lot of money. You are traveling the world. You are, I don't know what, but really, if I look inside myself, I don't care for any of those things. I want health. I want deep relationships. I want to make a difference. So for me, then if I look at how would I translate that, it's my personal fulfillment in this world, in me, in my relationships. Do I matter? Do I make a difference?
Yeah. And also personal achievement. No. For me, I would see success as personal achievement. And if you're in a workplace, it's, the company's achievements. And it's not just about the success. Have you achieved to, many aspects? So, yeah.
I think you raised some really good points. Lots of different words coming out there. And for me personally, I think it's replacing success with one of your core values, if not your core value. Whether it is happiness, whether it's peace, whether it's making a difference, whether it's this, it's got to be linked to your core value. And if you don't know your core values, we're going to be going deep into this at 1:30 p.m. today, UK time, with Ed Stanley, Coach Ed Stanley, and business leaders. So if you want to stay tuned for values, that is coming later today. And Mario followed up with a nice comment as well. He said, also, I know many people, especially on LinkedIn, are overly focused on their career and earning a ton of money. They seem to ignore actually enjoying life, happiness, making a positive impact on the world. It's so true, Mario. Thank you for sharing that. There is LinkedIn, I think, is also changing and putting that pressure on people to show that side, the career success, the money side, and actually forgetting about the making a difference, the impact, as Mario said. Do you both agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. So there's lots of good comments coming through. We don't have time to bring them all in today. So thank you for engaging. And if you are, let us know what season. I can see some of you are in build-up season, some of you in a season of growth, some of you are in spring as well as mentioned. So wonderful stuff coming through. And the final question, just to bring this discussion to a bit of a close, Donna and Patricia, and I appreciate we've really missed Adele today. It would have been great to have a bit more of Adele's input on a couple of questions, but unfortunately technology is not a friend today or our friend, because we're missing out hugely as well. But the last question that I have for you is all around, just to sum up, is success something we achieve or is it something we practice? And that's to the audience as well. What do we think?
Practice, personally speaking, because you can't achieve success without practice. Again, is that I don't like the word failure, but it's when you don't succeed, you try again, and it's a lesson. You always learn something along the way, and sometimes it's bigger and better. So if you succeed the first time, what have you learned? So practice is where the growth, the knowledge, the confidence comes from.
Yeah, I agree. It's practice for me as well, because there is no one level of success to reach for. What does that look like? And once you are there, maybe, you know, if you maybe think about how people who do sports, you know, at a professional level, how they train. Yes, at some point they come to some sort of level that they were going after, but then they plateau for a while, and then they decide they want to go up to the next level or the next step. And so I think that is also what we do in how we are growing up, you know, how we are moving in the world as a person, because we continuously learn. That's what we are promoting, right? There's no stop. You don't ever stop. And also in your business, even if you reach something, you're going to think of the next step and the next movement. So it's always around movement. There's always, it's always going in a, I don't know, it's not a circle, it's maybe a spiral, if you will. That I would see that.
But when you think about it as well, we weren't born to succeed the first time.
No.
We fail at walking. We fail at feeding ourselves. We fail at you know, routines. And that comes through routines and regiment and practice, building strength. That's resilience. All the things that when we were born to who we are now has been through practice.
Yeah.
It's almost like tapping into that further potential, as Patricia mentioned as well. You know, there's always going to be that next stage, that next idea, that next level of growth. And I think there's very few people that find contentment on our planet, which is, I think, once we reach that level of contentment, when we're content with what we have, that success stops becoming a practice and something we live. You know, because there is a lot of people, and it doesn't have to be huge levels of success. People are happy where they are, with a nice, simple, easy life. They aren't chasing tons of money, but they're the most happiest and joyful people that feel content where they are. Some really good thoughts. Thank you so much, Donna and Patricia, for everything that you've brought in today. Adele, thank you to you as well for being here with us at the beginning and sharing your thoughts around success as well. You've been a big miss today. And I really love what you've brought in, Donna, Patricia, and what everyone else has brought in the comments box. There's been a lot of good. There's been a few silly comments put in and a few users we've had to ban, but there's been so much great stuff and engagement from everybody in the audience. So thank you for what you've shared today, your thoughts. Hopefully this is getting you reflecting before we go into the coaching sessions and start to really plan this year and what we want this to look like for your best year. We need to have this discussion to start to think about. So we're setting this, Patricia, I think the key word from today, Donna, I'm sure you would agree, is that clarity, to start to set that clarity on the vision. And before we go, I've just got a quick few questions for you to ponder and take away as a little bit of an exercise as we move into our first coaching session of this Your Best Year online retreat, which is going to be focused on mindset and delivered by mindset coach and author Jane Njogu in half an hour's time. So we're going to have half an hour break and we're going to come back and go into our mindset. And these questions are not my questions. I've taken them for anybody who loves Jim Rohn. I don't know, Donna, Patricia, if you follow Jim Rohn, you see a lot of his work, a lot of his advice. There's one piece that I really love that comes from him, the 4 questions before we ever set out to achieve anything. The first one being is why. Why do we want to make 2026 our best year? Why do you want to pursue this idea of our success? So just to note that down, why. In between now, if you're looking for something to do, in between the break for half an hour, start to capture that list of whys. Why do you want to make this your best year? The second question that he follows up with is why not? Why not make 2026 your best year? Why not chase your version and your definition of success? Again, scribble this down, something to ponder on in the next half an hour between sessions. The third question he asks, Patricia, Donna, you might know what's coming, is why not you? Everybody else is chasing and making 2026 their best year, chasing their version of success. Why not you? Why can't you make this year the best year? And the final question he asks, which I think is really powerful, and I think this exercise is powerful whenever we're looking to go on any adventure or any venture or project, is why not now? There's no time like the present. So 4 questions for you to take away and ponder before we jump into going into our mindset and starting to set our mindset right for the best year, your best year in 2026. I want to say one last thank you to Donna and Patricia. Thank you both for your time today. I really enjoyed the discussion and conversation today. So thank you for everything you brought, the engagement with our audience. It's been really, really wonderful. And a huge thank you to Adele for being here at the beginning as well. I wish you both a wonderful rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing everybody in half an hour with Jane Njogu to look at mindset. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.